Today we're just going to do a quick how-to on how to make snuffle balls. If you're not familiar with a snuffle ball is enrichment for dogs. It can also be for cats if you do a small one. For cats, you can sprinkle it with catnip and they'll have a blast with it. For dogs, you'll notice there are folds throughout, and so you're going to put treats or their kibble inside the folds and let the dogs roll it around until they get the food out. This is great too for dogs that are, if they're gulpers, it can act as a slow feeder. So you can put their daily food allowance in here, or at least a portion of it. So that's what we're going to do today. So what you need, we'll give a list of the fabric requirements and things that you'll need at the end. So don't worry about that. You can make 4-inch ones, 6-inch ones, or 8-inch ones. You'll need scissors. You'll need fabric. I generally use fleece, but you can use old t-shirts cut up. You can use old sweatshirts cut up. It doesn't have to be really expensive fabric. Scissors. You'll need zip ties. You will need some way to poke holes in it, and I'll go through that when we get there, and I'll show you the way that I do it. So I'm going to start by, I have templates of a 4-inch circle, a 6-inch circle, and an 8-inch circle. So whatever size you want the ball to be when it's done is the template that you'll use. So we're going to make an 8-inch one today, which I already have cut, but I wanted to show you how I do it. Rather than cutting a full circle, I found this to be much easier and frankly a little bit quicker, I think. So I take the length of the material, and I fold my circle in half. I lay it down where I have folded it over and just cut the half circle. It's very simple. You're going to need 4 times whatever size circle you're going to end, whatever ball you're going to end up with. So if you're doing a 4-inch, you're going to need 16 circles cut. If you're doing a 6-inch, you need 24. If you're doing an 8-inch, you need 32. Now, if you want to make it a little bit thicker than that, and I had one, but I don't have it here now, you can make it so that it's even a tighter weave by putting more than 4 times. So if you want to go up to 5, it will just make it a more difficult puzzle. 4 is the minimum that I would do. If you cut them the way that I was doing, you're going to have things like this in between each of the semicircles that you cut. Don't throw them away. Keep them. I've been donating these to rescues and shelters and recommending that they put them in a jar with some catnip and just let them steep for like 24 hours. And then give them to the cats. We all know how much cats love to just bat things around. Well, you add catnip to the mix, but you don't have to. Cats will bat these around even without it. So don't throw them away. Your local shelter or rescue will love you for it. Once you have all of your semicircles cut, then you're going to fold them over, and this is where it gets interesting. You can either use, if you're very strong, and I will say, I had my husband doing this for a while. We had a hole punch. Well, trying to get through 4 layers of fleece, it was all he could do to punch that hole. So that will work if you're strong. if you're not, this is how I do it. And it's also good if you have a little bit of stress. So we bring out, I've just got an old cutting board here. As you can see, it's been used. It's got a lot of holes in it. I use, I'm not even sure what this is. It's some sort of a punch. I think my husband said it's like a nail punch that you use to kind of inset a nail. Fairly small tip, doesn't have to be big because you're going to be putting a zip tie through the hole. So, got a hammer, I've got a board and a punch. I take my circles and now I fold it in half again. And at the corner, without breaking through the edge of it, you're going to place your punch there and give it a couple of good whacks. Bingo, you got a hole all the way through. We're going to do that with all of these. These are great for gulpers. If you're trying to ditch the bowl, you don't want your dog, you want your dog to work for his food, this is an option instead of doing a Kong all the time. Okay, I've got all the holes done. So let's get this out of the way. So now what you're going to do, 8 is going on each of these. I've got 5 zip ties. You can do these in many different ways. You can mix them up. You can do all of one pattern if you're doing 2 color. I do have balls that I've done just 1 color, so then you really don't have to worry about trying to mix and match or not. They all come out looking great, so it really doesn't matter. This time I'm just going to do all of the patterned ones on 2 and the solid ones on 2. So you're going to start threading through, putting the zip tie through the little holes there. So we're going to thread all of these on. I do switch them as far as, you'd see this side is the open side, this side now I'm doing just the opposite. Now we're going to not tighten this yet, we're still going to leave it loose. So there's one of them. All right, let's see if we can get through these a little bit faster. Again, don't tighten it yet. We'll get there and you'll get to see the magic. One more to go and then we will put this together. You'll see, these really don't take that long. They're not that difficult to make and your dogs will thank you for it. Now you've got 4 of these. You're going to take the 5th one and you're going to put all of these on. Now again, it doesn't really matter the order. I'm just going to do every other. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what you do, they'll all look pretty. So now they're all on this one. And we're going to now secure that. Then going back to the individual ones, now you're going to tighten each of those. And you're really going to pull good and hard. This is where you need a really good, strong pair of scissors. I wouldn't use your fabric scissors for this. And cut your zip tie as close as you can. Now, this does leave a little bit of a sharp end, which is partly why I highly recommend supervising your dog. They will be able to get into the center of it, especially if you've got one that's really gung-ho on getting to those treats. There are a couple of things that you can do. You can take a lighter and kind of melt that end, or you can take some sandpaper and loosen it up. but just be aware of it. So we're going to do that with each of these individual ones. Okay, so all 4 of those are tightened. This is where the magic happens. So here's the last one that we haven't tightened yet. And this is when it turns into a ball. Same thing, tighten it as tight as you can get it. Then carefully get in there and cut this as close as you can without cutting the fleece. As you can see, it's kind of tight in there. There we go. Fluff it up, and voila, here's your 8-inch Snuffle ball. Give it to your dog and let him have some fun. Put treats in, nothing sticky. I wouldn't use cheese. I wouldn't use hot dogs. I would use something dry and hard. We want them to start really using their nose. That keeps them out of trouble, makes them very happy. If your dog is new to snuffling, put some very loosely on the top. I wouldn't go real deep into the folds so that they kind of get the hang of it.